All right, and we're just gonna get the Discord piece up and running here for our YouTube watchers.
Paper, why don't you go over a little bit about what they just saw?
Sure. So I hope everybody enjoyed that demonstration. Basically, what you saw there was me scanning a QR code with my mobile device, an iPhone in this case, and that pulled up the SOURCE Sandbox, which we're going to talk about on this stream tonight. And then it allowed me to step-by-step follow instructions to build a map that was pre-designed using the SOURCE Sandbox and layer by layer, so that I was able to very easily just look down at my phone, look at the amount of pieces that I had, match those pieces up to where they needed to go on a layer-by-layer basis, and build a map. It is as simple as scanning the code, opening it up, and going step-by-step. And as you can see in the video that we just shared, it was a little under 4 minutes. Go ahead and build that map with about 8 edges. So that was just a quick demonstration of what I would say is the benefit of SOURCE Sandbox for players. How are you as a player or someone who likes to build maps that others have created going to quickly and easily sit down, take your source, and set up the experience you want to?
Yeah, I'd like to add that it's a good way to set up for tournaments too, where if you have a big lobby and everyone needs to build a map, throw a QR code on everyone's table, everyone can scan it and build the same map simultaneously without any hassle.
So we want to welcome everybody. Oh, go ahead. All right.
Oh, go ahead.
So we want to welcome everybody to tonight's stream, and tonight we're all hyped up over here. We've been prepping this, and we're super excited to show you what we've been working on for the last few months. And this new project is known as the SOURCE Sandbox. What is the SOURCE Sandbox? It's a digital map building, sharing experience for SOURCE players supporting the SOURCE ecosystem. And we have other applications that we'll talk about in the future, but tonight we want to talk about SOURCE Sandbox. So we're going to do a brief introduction for those of you who are unfamiliar with the team. Make sure that you know who all is here. And then from there, we will begin introducing you to Greyson, who is on the call today, also known as LowGray. He is the mastermind behind the SOURCE Sandbox application from Trapset Interactive Studios. And then we'll give you a brief demonstration. So why don't we kick it off with Bob Loki.
I just noticed I'm not wearing my wizard hat. Just pick somebody else.
All right,
South
Salty,
is here, head of game design.
Hi, it's Shaper or Chris here, head of creative direction at Adventure Together.
Hello, everyone. Hamaro or Nick, and I am head of program management. Jeremy, if you want to give a quick introduction.
Hi, Arcane. Jeremy. I'm head of the software development.
And we'll wait for Bob to get his wizard hat because it's very important to our stream's theme and immersion.
Gotta get in character.
And he's muted.
You're muted, Bob.
Typical wizard.
He's never late, nor is he early. He makes sound precisely when he means to.
I'm the wizard.
There you go.
There you go. All right. And yeah, lastly we got, which we just showed off, Greyson or LowGray, who is not part of the Adventure Together team. He is just a member, very dedicated member of the community who we've been working with over the past few months. So if there's anything else tomorrow, we could pass it over.
Yeah, Greyson, why don't you take it away?
Yeah, sure. First off, just making sure, let me know if I sound okay to everyone. But yeah, I'm LowGray. Also Greyson. I've been going by LowGray a long time, over on Board Game Geek and here. Very quick introduction of why I'm talking, why I'm working with these guys right now. Bunch of backstory, but I'm going to take it back 20 years. Actually 20 years, basically fall of 2004. Sitting around on Board Game Geek and saw something called HeroScape just came out. And funnily enough, I kind of forgot, it was It's because they were doing a buy one get one free sale. Everyone was talking about it, Toys R Us, and you could literally get a. So I ran over to Toys R Us. I barely knew anything about it. I walked out with 4 of them, and just started playing with the tiles. And I mean, obviously the tiles, like the rules are fine, but the tile system just blew me away. And I went home and I started. So I was a Flash developer then. So I coded something called Landscape, which was the first HeroScape Battlefield editor. It was Flash. So if anybody even remembers Flash, it had its limitations, like no 3D. But I got it out there, just put it out for the community, web-based. People used it for a really long time. Eventually, some 3D things came along and just kind of forgot about it, you know. And I kind of moved away from HeroScape. I still played a ton of games. Jump forward 20 years. Basically, last January, my wife and I had our second child, our son, and I took some time off. And my 4-year-old had started playing with my old HeroScape tiles, and I got inspired to I got some time and I got a lot of late nights, so I just went back in and just started playing and just wanted to see what a Battlefield editor could look like in 2024. And in the last 20 years, professionally, I moved off into the ad agency, where it's an industry term, it's kind of generic, but creative technologist, which means I do a lot of development work in the game space, using a lot of game engines, a lot of 3D, AR, VR, mixed reality, interactive displays, events, that kind of stuff. So a few years ago, I left, basically was there for 10 years, and then I left and formed Trapset Interactive, which is sort of my own little studio. I do a lot of contract work for big brands and things in the space. And again, so I kind of had the knowledge, I had the time. So I just started playing and just started putting this together. And Chris reached out to me. He'd seen, because I just posted some stuff on Board Game Geek, and it was sort of like, he kind of, walked me through what Source was. I had heard about it. I hadn't really looked into it much. And it just hit everything that I liked. I loved the system. Like I said, I love HeroScape. It's just, the rules were pretty basic. I love rules. And this is a system of infinite rules. I love the sandbox nature. And yeah, we basically started talking about what they and you guys all would need to make, to basically have a useful tool. And so yeah, we started making SOURCE Sandbox, and I think right now it's an alpha. So again, if you've ever, I don't know if anybody out there is in software, but alpha is very early, so it could very well break. And if it breaks, I'm going to hit refresh on the browser. It is browser based. It's built with Game Engine, so it's ported over to WebGL. It runs great though, cross-platform, Mac, Windows, and every browser we've thrown at it. We do have a mobile version to show as well, which that one is much more basic. It's functional. The UI needs a lot of work, but we're going to show that off tonight. And before I dive in, I'm going to pass it back to the team. Anything else I'm glaringly missing?
No, I think you covered it, Greyson. Once you share your screen, just give me 2 seconds to make sure it looks good for YouTube and Facebook, and I'll give you the all clear.
All right.
Arcane, you got someone crawling around in the background.
All right, I should be sharing.
Yep, give me 1 second.
Yeah, for those of you in Discord, go ahead and click watch stream. But otherwise, if you're on YouTube or Facebook, tomorrow we'll set it up so that you can just see it on the screen.
And we are, give me 1 more second. We are good to go, Greyson.
Awesome. Okay, this is SOURCE Sandbox, specifically the 19th alpha version, and like I said, it's just running in browser. I just kind of wanted to show it I'm running it on my lowest spec machine I have, which is a Mac Mini, the base model it's an M1, so this is from about 5 years ago now. So does not take advanced hardware. So yeah, here it is. Let's dive in. SOURCE Sandbox is a 3D design tool. Like I mentioned before, I'd done one a lot of years ago that was 2D. You kind of had to build top down. I really wanted to get in and make something that was 3D. I wanted to make something that was fun. I wanted to make it feel creative. So I'm just gonna click my mouse. Let's lay some tiles down. So you'll notice I can just start laying tiles down, click draw. I have camera controls. A bunch of keyboard shortcuts for things like focus and spinning and zooming in and zooming out. Everything you'd expect in a traditional 3D graphics package. This little thing I call the brush, so I can kind of come along and just start clicking and drawing. Of course, I have a top-down mode, so I can quickly do this as well. So that's a whole lot of just basic tiles here. I'm going to start from the beginning, though. I'm going to come up here and say, new map. And we have a lot of different workflows. And I'm going to take a quick step back and explain our sort of idea behind this. And that is, so this tool works for anyone. Anyone can go to it once it's available, but they can go to it. They can just start playing around. They don't need to be a member or subscribe to anything. They can make a map and just kind of play. The idea behind that is we just wanted to get people excited about Source and get excited about the system. But if you want to go in and sign up for an account, you'll be able to go in and save your maps and do everything else like sharing, which we'll get into. So in this case, this is a workflow where I'm going to go to log in and it's going to say, hey, do you want to save this? I don't. So I'm just going to hit don't save. And I'm going to create a new map and I'm going to call it Low Gray's map. And we have some basic templates set up right now. I love the edges. That's another thing that really excited me about the Source system. So I'm going to just pick this circular one and I'm going to hit go. All right, so here we go. We have our basic one, and I'm just going to fill this up really fast. I'm going to go to the 2D mode, and then I'm going to hit, this is a keyboard shortcut for spacebar, where I can go in and I can see.
1 second, sorry.
No
Sorry,
worries.
we have one issue happening, which I want to fix.
Problem?
Just making it bigger so everybody can see. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no worries.
All right, you're back on.
Great. So yeah, I just hit space. This brings up the piece chooser, which this gives you a lot of different ways to dive into all the different pieces that are currently available. So like I can go over and I could say pick environment, and then I could, toggle through those. So like if I wanted to, I want some roads, so I could pick it here. I could also go back and there's a tagging system, so we can go in and tag these however we want. Right now I have some basic ones set up like roads and what I just call liquids, which are all the waters and some trees, but let's do road. So I'm just going to pick some road. So here, I'm just going to top down. I'm going to split this thing in half, and I don't know, I'll do a couple more.
Crossroads.
Crossroads.
Yeah. Now I'll randomize it just a bit. Okay, cool. I've got that. Again, 3D. This is what it looks like, pretty basic. So okay, let's go add spacebar again. I'm just going to go pick some water. I'm going to pick some ice and put some ice on this side. Do a little more over here. We'll do some lava. One nice feature of this is knowing that you're probably not going to make a map with every single, you might, but not you use every single type of tile. One of the options in here is in map, so at any point in time you can just see everything that's already been used. But let's go back and get some actual grass. Okay, so boom, we have a very basic map. Again, so I could jump back out here, I could kind of dive around. So one thing that we added was something called utility panels, which we know that we're building a tool for a lot of different users who are going to be playing different games, are going to have different needs, and trying to juggle what goes into the UI was really difficult. And where we settled at was basically making a very minimal UI. You'll notice we have some options at the bottom for like different cameras and undo and redo, things like undo, redo, things every user would need. Anything else, specialty tools, we're going to be putting in things called utility panels. Now, there's just a couple now, but we can eventually blow this out. So as an example, if I want to know what my current brush is, like 'cause right now I don't even know what I'm drawing with, it's grass. And if I was to come over to, I don't know, let's do this one. Oops, do I have my first bug? Of course. First bug, everyone. We're gonna show you what happens when you reset. The nice thing about this is it does cache, so it's a fast loading system. It's not like pulling something huge up. All right, let me log back in. Yeah, let's use local data. Since I did not save it, it's smart. Okay, let's get back in here. And let's see. All right. So Yeah, the again, I'm gonna use a keyword shortcode C, but it's just basically gonna show me. Oh look, it did it again. Well, we'll add
Well,
that
are you
to
supposed to put targeted place? Is that what you're looking for instead of current
yeah.
brush?
Well, here, I'm gonna go over to targeted for right now, and we'll avoid that brush for now.
First time you clicked it.
Yeah. Yeah, here. When in doubt, we're gonna avoid that brush because that's the bugged one. The other one, which is targeted piece, this is another useful one. Basically, it's just showing you what the current brush was. This one is useful for if you just want to like point at a tile, you can see what it is, how many are in your current map. Speaking of, we have options for that where at any point in time you can just click and see a sorted view of everything that's in your actual map. You can edit. Here, actually, let me log back in since I didn't do that. All right. You know, I'm going to build a little bit before I show more. Let's just very quickly. Actually, the whole thing is kind of freaking out. This is sharing. I'm going to come back in and redo this one more time. Sharing is where we can go in and we can get a URL and we can get a QR code. I'm going to show mobile here in a second, but the URL is great because you can obviously take that, you can embed that just to any web page. They can click on it, it's going to load. The QR code is great because obviously any mobile device you have, you can just pull that up and it's going to launch the mobile version for people. All right, let us see here if I need to refresh one more time, or you know what actually I'm going to do is I'm going to show this, jump over to setup mode. Actually, give me 1 second, everyone. Let's see here. Yep, we are currently, when in doubt, refreshing the 4th time, and I'm not going to touch those utility panels. All right, let's just build up real quick because I want to show you some other great features. So let's delete some of these. I want to show this is physics-based. So for example, I can start doing like what we call flow over logic. So I want to place a 15 hex tile down, and I want to put 4 corners to support this tile. What I'm going to do is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. All right. And normally I would use my tool for this, but since we're live demoing and the demo gods are not playing nicely, all right, let's do this. So again, now we have a 15-piece tile, which I could place on its own, or I could very easily, I can lay it over this and it's smart, and boom, it can just automatically do that. And then, of course, I can start laying some more tiles on top, and I'll put some here, so people actually have a way to get up here. And let's put some trees out there. Throw in there, throw in there. Great. Boom. Okay, so very quickly can generate a map. Like I said, view it in 2D, view in 3D, and then let's go to the next mode. So the next mode that we have is called setup mode. So this is how you build again, and you can share and save and everything. But when it comes time to actually sort of the day of play, we wanted to give a tool to allow you to set this up. So this is a step-by-step, and this is what you saw in the intro video. If you saw it, this is a step-by-step tool for seeing what's in every level and show you the instructions. Now, I saw a question in chat earlier that I'll address, and the question is, are we going to do like printouts? And that's been a question that's sort of popped up before, and there's a couple. There's like a technical and non-technical answer. The technical answer is it possible? Yeah, there should be something we can do. The question is trying to figure out what would be the solution for the most users. Is it just this centered on a page? Do we need to come up with a system, where you could like control how many on a page or columns, and then you get into, do you add extra texts and titles, and then do you cross into like a publishing program? So it's on the table. It's something we're definitely thinking about, but right now we're sort of focusing on just using either the desktop or the mobile app as sort of your build assistant for now, and then coming up with something later, whether it's PDFs or exporting images or something to help you, generate a physical product of all this. So yeah, it shows me where everything is at. And I'm gonna, before I show you the third option here, I'm just gonna dive back. And I'm gonna, again, log myself back in. And I wanna use local data since I made some changes. And okay, this is a pretty small map, but I kind of wanna, again, show you something a bit bigger. So this is one that the team worked up earlier. So these are all my maps I have saved. And I'm gonna show you a big one here.
Humunga Dunga.
Humunga Dunga. So this piece, as you saw, was over 2,000 pieces. And as I said, it's running in browser. Performance is great on a five-year-old machine. Everything works with it. As I said, you have this 2D mode. Again, this is what it looks like if you're curious in 2D mode. Let's center this a little better for you. We'll begin we'll turn this on so you can see our pieces and we'll begin our build. So you can see, for example, our base floor is 117 forest floor tiles, and it just keeps on going up from there. And I think I forgot to show this last time, but it is really nice. You can actually view setup in 3D. Another question that I saw pop up in the chat is something that's definitely going to be worked on, which is while this looks really cool, it is a bit hard to tell what's a single hex from, say, a 15 hex. So we are going to be we're going to have another little pop-up where you can toggle on and off various little options. Like maybe you want to change what those tiles look like. Maybe you want, a black border around it. So we're going to hopefully give you all control of what this setup screen looks like for you. Other notes, I guess I don't really comment on this, but these little floating panels, we can move them around, minimize them. You can do whatever you want with them. But we have one other mode to show here, which is the setup mode. Sorry, not the setup mode, is the explore mode. So this mode, the idea behind explore mode started with the idea of, we're in a 3D space with a 3D camera. And I realized, a lot of these games, like things like line of sight are super important. So it's like, can we actually jump down, to the map level, first person point of view and look around? So that's what this is. So you go to explore mode, you click any space on the map, like way up here, and you can actually view your map in full 3D. And this is just a character controller. So, think standard video game stuff. I can jump down and walk around and look up, look around. So you can really get in and, kind of figure out what it looks like. And yeah, some future implementations that we've talked about are being able to do things like control the camera height. I realize in these games you have different units who, again, dwarf or dragon or giant are going to be different ones. So we'll have settings in there where you can adjust the camera height and camera speed, and we'll probably fill it up more. We'll get some things in there like actual jump and other types of movement. But yeah, let me see here. I feel like I'm probably missing some things.
I do want to share that
Go
this map was made by Himaro, and that you're showing it. It's like this
Absolutely.
is two different people, completely separate. Like Himaro spent a bunch of time yesterday just making a map.
Yeah, and as I said,
now here anyone can see it and share it.
Yeah, instantly. And just a side note, if there's anybody has any technical questions about it, we were really pleased. So these are just very tiny little data text files that run all this. Once you have the application downloaded, sharing's super easy. So this entire map is about 38 kilobytes. So, it's like a tiny little web image, amount at best. We're not talking like megabyte downloads or nothing. These are things you can share very quickly, very simply. And yeah, I think that's kind of the quick. There's some other features that are coming that are not in right now. We'll have, things like user customizable settings. We want to give you, as an example, different types of 3D cameras. We're using one now where we're driving with, WASD keys, like more of a video game. We have some mouse-driven ones where if you say want to rotate the camera, maybe you hold the middle mouse down. If any of you have used 3D programs, a lot of them have that where you can pick different options. We're going to have that too. We're going to have a couple different 2D camera types. We're going to have different options in the UI. things like we might add light mode, dark mode at some point, but we're definitely going to have things where you can go in and customize like speeds of certain things like dragging and, zooming. And any features that we sort of build out will probably stick in the experimental tag once they're ready for sort of everybody to play with. And those are things that you can go toggle on and off as needed.
Can you do me a favor?
And
it's just
yeah.
because I'm so excited about the first person mode. Can you go back into Explore and go into the mushroom patch? Yeah, and walk down this hill and just pause and look at the detail of the koi pond and the mushroom patch and kind of look. Because this when I was building yesterday, once I finished this build, I think I was exploring for about 25 minutes where I walked around and I looked at every single detail of the map. And I know that's not the primary use of this application right now, but I think when you're in here and you're exploring and you just feel like you're immersed in your map, it brings you just this level of joy that I couldn't express without showing you guys. So I wanted to just show you this. I was very excited about this when I saw it, and I was like, I can't believe that I'm walking around in a source map right now. So thank you for doing that, Greyson.
No worries. Yeah, no, this was amazing. That's explored. But yeah, this is a fantastic, I think, again, this is an example because obviously this is sort of I don't know what kind of maps everyone's going to be making. Clearly this is going to be on the larger end, and we're already at a point where, performance wise and data wise and everything's kind of where we want it to be. So from an alpha point of view, we're super excited to see that. What else? Anything else, guys, I'm missing off the top of? Otherwise, I'm going to bounce it off and kind of show them what the mobile's like.
Sure.
I think it's good to jump to mobile.
And by the way, if anybody does have questions, I'm just going to kind of walk through everything quickly, so this isn't too long, and then we're going to kind of open it up to Q&A, and you can feel free to ask whatever. So let's try this. All right, I'm going to stop streaming.
All right.
And now, hold on.
Once you do it, just give me a second to restructure.
No worries. I'm gonna.
Yeah, and once he's done showing, we'll talk about our vision of how it's going to be part of this ecosystem that's tied in with our open source solution and how it works with the games that you're developing and how sharing and building maps with your account works. So we'll go into that, and then we'll do Q&A right after.
All right, hold on. Let's do. All right, I'm trying to connect my phone as we speak here. So let's.
And everybody, both in YouTube and on Discord, you guys can keep leaving feature requests and stuff, and I will log them.
All right.
Yeah.
Hopefully, you guys are seeing a live feed of my phone.
Just give me 1 second.
All right,
and a dog.
And my dog. I was joking. I do have 2 human kids, but yes, my dog is my background. So are you guys seeing this okay?
Yep,
yes.
All good?
Yeah.
Yes.
Uh-oh, did I lose you?
Nope, you're still good.
We're good.
All right, 1 second, everyone. If you can still hear.
Nice and warm 39 degrees over there.
All right.
While he's still figuring that out, I will say that we will have throughout the year, or coming up to the release of it, we are looking for testers. So in the future, we will be dropping a form where you can register to be a tester and help us, bug fix and play around in the system and see what you like and give us feedback. So we will let you know when that's up and when our testing windows will be.
Yep, we'll be posting those through the Game Found, through Kickstarter, through Facebook, through Instagram, on Reddit, on Discord. So look out for those forms coming out very, very soon.
I think you gotta re-promote him to a speaker.
Oh.
Yep,
He left and came back.
Give him 1 second.
There it is.
All right, coming back.
Try number 2.
All right, let's make sure everything got still. Okay, am I back?
Yes, you're back.
Yep.
Yes.
Wonderful. Let's try it again. I hit share of my phone and everything went away. So let's try this again. All right. we tried this earlier, so we should be able to share my phone screen.
There it is.
All right. All right. Do you see it this time?
Yep, just give me 1 second to make sure it looks good. Hold on.
Terrific. Yeah, Discord like 100% locked up on me, so.
Let me make sure I'm getting the entirety of the screen. I think that should cover it. We should be good.
You guys scale it down a little bit. Yeah, there you go.
Great.
All right.
Well, what I wanted to show was, let's do this. QR. No. QR code scanner. So this is the QR code scanner on my phone. I'm just going to drop it onto one of these and just give you an idea of what it looks like for mobile users. It's going to load their map, and then boom, their map is up. So now I'm running this map with touch controls. And again, as you'll notice, this screen isn't optimal for mobile, so we're going to definitely change this up, but we just get you an idea of what's here. And yeah, you can start going in and just scan any map and use your mobile phone to sort of build it. Of course, you can see what tiles are on any floor. We're going to obviously make this a lot cleaner, but just to show you no smoke and mirrors, I'll go back to, actually we'll hit close and we'll scan a different one. So there we go. There's a different one. So yeah, the mobile experience will be great. So one note about mobile is right now, there's a lot of complexity of the UI, of course, to make a design tool. So the current thinking is, initially at least, is that the desktop is going to be the place to create. That's going to have all the standard tools. The mobile will be, basically mobile devices will be, you'll be able to go in, you'll be able to log in, you'll be able to, pull up all your maps, including giant ones. And basically the phone and mobile devices will be for build. In the future, we could see about what we've talked about, again, if you're familiar with how Photoshop does it, they have a Photoshop for, desktop and iPad, and they have like a Photoshop Express for phones. There could be something where, maybe you design, but using templates, like a scaled down version, but that would be a way off. But so for right now, the idea behind mobile is that this is going to be the thing that you can just pull out of your pocket, scan maps, pull up your own maps, and use this as a tool to help you sort of on setup day and get going. Yeah, that's kind of where we're at. I'm gonna stop sharing again before it locks me out again. But that's where we're at. So we're currently at the alpha stage, which is us just getting features in. I mean, the entire UI was different 2 weeks ago. We were kind of playing around with more of a, if you think of like game UI where you have multiple screens, and we really settled on this idea of now we just want people to, they don't have to sign up first and log in and create a new map. It's just you just pull it up and design and play around and get people excited. And as soon as they're ready to save it or share it, then they can go off and get an account and become part of the community at that point. So next steps are going to be, of course, we'll move it to beta. First internally, the whole team is going to try to get through it, get everything ready. And then I think the idea is to start opening it up. But obviously I'll let these guys talk more about that. But yeah, that's where Sandbox is as of right now.
Fantastic.
Wonderful.
Bravo. Yeah, so I guess I'll jump in here first and just take a moment and just want to acknowledge all the outrageously hard work that Greyson's put into building this over the past couple of months. It shows, I think, that the state that this is in versus where we started, and all the features and how accessible it is and how user-friendly it is, and also how slick it looks, and how optimized it's performing at this stage. It's just really impressive to see how far we've come, and thank you so much for building this tool for everybody. It's been a heck of a lot of fun to build in, and I can't wait to see what designers start to do when they get their hands on it and start to build maps and or campaign maps, or competitive maps for the games that they're all working on. As you know, the Adventure Together community's got about 15 games in the works right now, and I can think of 1,000,001 ways that this is going to come into effect with the things that they're trying to achieve. I think something I always think about with this that I think is really, really exciting is just the way the designers are going to be able to put this inside their rule books or on the boxes of their, or the packaging of their boxes, so that when or if your game hits retail shelves, somebody might be able to just come up, scan it, and open up a map or a campaign map that you've already designed for your existing experience. There's all sorts of other ideas that we have too as a team that we want to talk about. I think at this point, I'm just like, I'm thrilled to start opening it up for Q&A to hear what everybody, if what questions you guys have or what ideas are popping off your head, and what you guys thought of the presentation.
Well, I'd like to step in and talk about more of what you can expect your experience to be like when you're using this tool. So first off, it's an easy way to share your map with anyone and help them build it in person. So that's what the link's there for, the QR code. They can view your map. They cannot edit your map. It's not like people are going in and messing with your file. It's purely a sharing experience. This is also going to be something that ties into our other system, which is what we call the SOURCE Tavern, which you're going to be able to start building games and rules and cards, and you're going to be able to link these maps directly into your games, so that when people test your games or look up your games, they can click the link, go right over to see what map they need to build to play your game. And then the last part will be that if people like your game like your map, and they log in, they can save it as their own, so a separate file, it doesn't affect yours, and then they can build onto it, edit it, and then save it for themselves and say, hey, I made these changes. Take a look at what I thought we should do for tonight, or something like that. So there's a lot of different applications, and the main goal is to keep it as easily accessible as possible, so that you can share maps with anyone and they can immediately view them without having to create an account, log in. But of course, you'll have more features by doing so and then working with us.
And that Umunga Dunga being under a megabyte is the craziest.
It's not even 40 kilobytes. It's like an icon.
Yeah, it's kind of insane.
It's less than a modern icon.
Yeah.
And I want to mention before we go into Q&A, because a lot of people tend to drop off during the Q&A, that we have a big surprise for you all at the end. So don't drop off, hang out. We're going to jump in here. But to go on what Salpy kind of started talking about, we are building what we call the SOURCE ecosystem. The SOURCE ecosystem is bigger than just the SOURCE system. The SOURCE ecosystem is bigger than just the SOURCE Sandbox. It's going to be a large set of applications and tools that we provide to the community to make your experience with SOURCE that much better. And this is just one of the boxes that we're ticking. I encourage you to look at our roadmap. We have other applications that we're going to be demoing this year. Salpy talked about, which is the SOURCE Tavern. This application is going to work directly with that system to empower indie developers and make it so that they can have maps tied to their games and experiences, for allowing people to play test, print and play at home. And then something else I wanted to mention is, overall, we are working on enhancing your experience in a way and bridging that gap between tabletop and digital that's never been done, at least that we've seen in tabletop games before. So get excited, because I am. I don't know how else to say it. You should be excited, because there's a lot of really, really fun stuff on the horizon, and it's going to empower our playtesters, it's going to empower our designers, it's going to empower our community. And something that we are keen on at Adventure Together is the community. Logray, as we mentioned earlier, he's just a community member that's super hyped up and is ready to support us. And it's really, really amazing to see, because we have so many community members that are adding tremendous value to the company. And something we said a year or two ago was, we don't think the best things from Adventure Together are going to come directly from Adventure Together. I know that's kind of a weird statement to make, but it's true. The community has been so integral in building, crafting new experiences, and we're working with them on a daily basis. So if you're not in our Discord, I encourage you to get in there, because there's a lot of exciting things happening in there. And if you're in there, you're going to have first access to all of that new functionality, new applications, everything that's coming out. And we'll open it up to Q&A for a little bit. So we're looking at the YouTube chat, we're looking at the Discord chat, we're looking at the Facebook chat. Please feel free to put questions in there. We have one from... Yep,
questions we've gotten that we've answered to people in various places.
So
because we haven't done that. We've been answering people in Discord, been answering people in YouTube chat, and we haven't actually said any of them out loud. And there were also feature requests that some of them were pretty awesome too, which we don't have to, of course, bring up. But...
Yeah, so one of the big questions is, hey, we're looking to better define the 15 hexers versus the 20 hexers and the single hexes, and Logray kind of alluded to it, but we are putting in some sort of highlight system so that when you are crafting your tabletop board on your table, you'll be able to toggle on highlights and you'll be able to see, okay, this piece is highlighted as a 15 hexer. This piece is highlighted as a 24 hexer. And, excuse me, over time, we anticipate that feature getting more robust. We're super excited to hear back from what else the community is looking for. We will, in addition to opening a sign-up form for everybody to kind of register and say, hey, I want to be part of the alpha, I want to be part of the beta. We're also going to be doing polls in the Discord, looking for feedback on what functionality you'd like to see. And we're also going to be having forms that we send out to the community so that they can submit their most requested features. And that's going to help us prioritize what's most important to you. And that is so important at Adventure Together because that's the whole point. We are all on this adventure together. So we want you to help us define what a map builder looks like in the future and how we can make it and tailor it to your everyday needs when building your tabletop experiences. Another question came from Patrick Bishop in YouTube, and he is asking if there would ever be a random map generator of some sort. Like maybe able to choose one of the pieces, choose all the pieces you want in a map and then have it generate automatically. I think that's a great suggestion. I don't know if Bob or Salpy you want to talk about that, or even Logray, but I think that's something that's totally plausible. And we are looking into allowing you to basically have a library of your pieces so that you can kind of store in the SOURCE Sandbox, hey, this is what I have at home. This is what I have at my disposal. And then having it so that you can only use those pieces to build with. And I think a random map generator is a great idea because if you're gaming every other week or every 2 weeks, as fun as it is to build a map every single time, and believe me, I enjoy it, sometimes you just want to be quick and say, oh, I have a playtest in 2 hours. I want to generate a map real quick. Here's the pieces I'm working with. Generate, great, share it with my friends, have them start building it ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's a great point because that's something I guess I did not talk about as we walked through. Right now, we're just building in what's called unlimited mode, which is every piece from every set. But we've absolutely talked about it's already sort of built in, but the idea of one, like not only being able to have your own collection, but then being able to go through and then the UI will then update accordingly. So every time that if you own 51 hex Dune tiles, as you use them, you'll have a counter that counts down. And when you mouse over them, it will say, you've currently used, 23 of 50. So that's going to be a second build mode that probably comes sometime, probably during the beta period. We just have to figure out some things about how, sharing works. Like if you share a map, is it automatically unlimited or does it have to prompt, there's UI considerations mainly, but from a technical point of view, absolutely. We definitely want to have it be something where this is very personal to you and your collection, your maps, and then go from there.
We have another question on Discord. Are you planning on adding minis to the sandbox? How extensive would that be? Possibly even allowing your own upload, kind of like TTS. Shaper, I'll let you tackle that one.
Yeah, so I just want to say as a blanket statement that I think any and all features are probably possible. We could figure these things out. What's going to help us choose which direction to go in is going to be the enthusiasm of the community and what they most want, number one. And number two is the support and adoption we see. So long as we can find support and adoption of this as a platform, we can continue to expand on it and take it in pretty much any direction we want. For minis in particular, yeah, I mean, what TTS does is technically feasible. Whether or not we want to be something that is like TTS is another question. I think someone else brought up, and I'll let Bob and and Logray talk about this a little bit more later, but someone brought up, could you take a map and export it to TTS so that then you can do playtesting with it? I think there's two very sort of distinct differences between why you might use Source Sandbox and why you might use TTS. There's a lot of things in TTS you can't do that in Sandbox you can. And so I think right now kind of playing up things that make them different more so than trying to make them more alike is the direction we're headed in. I think it's probably the right direction to head in. But yeah, importing minis and objects and line of sight blockers, everybody's been asking for that. I think as of right now, what we're going to do is make sure that we as Adventure Together have a bunch of those things that we can put into there for you. So you saw that the trees were in there. We'll continue to add more things that we intend to turn into products or that we use throughout the different games that we're publishing. And we'll work on getting them in there so that you have those to use. One of the things I like most personally about the designer right now is it's using things that are physical, that are products that do exist out in the world and I can touch and move and play with. So that sort of, that user journey of, hey, I built this thing in digital space, but I can go ahead and make it in physical space right now, is always kind of there. So yeah, for me personally, and if the community has, a different point of view on it, let us know. But for me personally, I want to keep relying on the things that we either plan to turn into physical things or are releasing in the 3D printable format so that the community can go ahead and build things in this that they can actually physically replicate and recreate. But yeah, as far as TTS goes, I'll hand that off to Logray and Bob to talk about.
Yeah. So it's a question, and I do like the way that Shaver said anything that exists out there, we of course can build it. And if it's the community decides that we want to have all the miniatures and the capability of doing miniature uploads and all that other stuff into Source Sandbox, we could do that. We could facilitate that. That's obviously something that can eventually happen. But as mentioned, Tabletop Simulator does already allow those things, and Steam already has those features to be able to upload your game and play your game in Tabletop Simulator. And so, yeah, we've spent some time, doing a little bit of research into that to be able to take, from Source Sandbox and load it into, Tabletop Simulator and going that path through. We can do that. And I think Salpy's going to show off some of the stuff he's got in Tabletop Simulator here. So while I'm talking tomorrow, if you want to move the camera over there, but it's definitely something we can facilitate. Being able to go between, Tabletop Simulator and the Source Sandbox back and forth is something we can facilitate. But yeah, when it comes to miniatures, and then you've got all the rules and etc. Because if you're playing Time Strike, in Tabletop Simulator, there's lots of rules and miniatures and cards and zillions of other things that we may want to eventually build into the Source Sandbox, but right now, Salpy's already done an enormous amount of very good work, which he's going to show off now.
So as we're talking about
a reminder, teaser, don't drop. We got something really, really cool to show you. Go ahead, Salpy.
Yeah, and I'll wrap this up real quick so we can play that. But yeah, I just wanted to make an announcement that with showing off the Sandbox coming out, we just made an update to the I haven't pushed it yet, but we have an update coming to the Source Workshop. It's got all of our different designs now, so now you can go in here and grab the ones you want, and then we have all the different pre-built pieces so that you can go in and make your own worlds. And it's built on another workshop mod called Flex Table, so you can go in and mess with the table size, change the felt, so if you want different colors underneath. Shout out to, don't remember the name of the guy who built the table, but yeah, this is on here now, and we'll be ready to, I'll probably post it in the next few days so that you can download it and see everything. And now that I'm thinking about it, I should probably make all this felt just artwork, and you can select what base biome of the board you want, and it will fill in the whole bottom.
It's a great idea.
That's probably a good idea.
You can use our grip mat art files for that.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, okay, that's it.
Yeah,
I think one other question I wanted to answer that was in the chat was we will be posting sign-up forms on the Kickstarter, on GameFound, on our Discord, our social media channels, and it's open to anyone. You don't have to be a backer or whatnot to sign up and possibly get in. It's important that this is, a system for all. So that was a question from Patrick.
Will you be able to put your playmats into the builder? Salpy, I'll let you take that one. I guess we kind of just answered it, but maybe talk to it a little bit more.
Well, I was talking about TTS. Are playmats into the sandbox?
So, again, I think anything that we physically produce as a company will eventually find its way into the sandbox. So that would probably include grip mats at the point at which we can get them in there.
And I can confirm, I've already started, but that bottom, that the design space is just a texture, and there's already a system in place to dynamically swap that. So there's not a UI for it, but we would just need to build that and get assets for that. So wouldn't be a problem.
That kind of goes a little further. The other couple questions of, what's the minimum amount of stuff we're going to put in there? It's everything we make. That we're obviously going to have everything we make inside the Source Sandbox. Whether we allow other people to add more things or etc., everything that we're going to make and more than likely we're going to publish will be in here.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, it's right at 10, so I think that's a good place to wrap it up. And we want to thank everyone for coming and sharing this journey with us, or being on the adventure. And we just
Together
are trying to make more and more stuff for all of us to use as a community to just make board games together.
It was a pleasure showing this off, and I just want to say one more time, Logray, thank you for supporting the team.
Thank you so much. This is awesome.
No worries.
Absolute pleasure.
Like I said, I just did one more time. Like I said, I met these guys and we did a couple video chats, and again, I was just blown away by your vision and this whole concept. And you had me once you started talking about you're not just making games, you're making digital products, you're making interactions, and you're making all these stories for all these different people. And it's literally everything that I'm sort of burn out of buying game after game after game. This is this one-stop shop for all this stuff I love. So yeah, I'm just happy to be part of it.
So the moment that I've been waiting for, we're gonna say good night to everyone. We hope that you enjoy, and there's gonna be 2 videos that pop up, so hang around. Just because it looks like it's over doesn't mean it is. We're gonna show you guys something, but again, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you for joining the adventure. This is truly an adventure together, and every day you guys are just really bringing our dream to a reality. We're not doing it alone. I want to make that really, really clear. This is not the Adventure Together team doing this. This is the people in our Discord. This is the people who backed us. This is the people who believe that tabletop is something bigger, and can be something that in the long run brings people together. So have a wonderful evening, and we're going to cut.
that it?
That's it.